Today we're going to review how to find the area and circumference of a circle. Now, the center of a circle, if you draw a line from the center of the circle to the outside of the circle, that's called the radius. Now the radius any of these lines can be a radius. This is a radius, this is a radius, this is the radius, this is the radius. Now, let's look at these two right here. I have one radius, two radii. The diameter is the distance across a circle, and it goes from one side of the circle to the other side of the circle through the center. So the radius goes from the center to the outside of circle. And I'm going to use this little symbol for circle with a dot in it. The diameter goes all the way across the circle and through the center. If you're taking your notes, you can pause the video and write this down. Then start it again when you're ready. Okay, there are three formulas we need to know in order to find the area and the circumference. One is area equals pi r squared. So that's the one we're going to use whenever we want the area. Notice it has r in there. Now, if it gives you the diameter, you don't know r yet. You're going to have to figure out r. So if two radii go together to make a diameter, then one diameter is the diameter is twice the radius. So if they gave you the diameter, half of that will be the radius. So radius equals the diameter divided by 2. So if I told you that the diameter was 6, your radius would be 3. All right, let's look at circumference. C equals pi d, and C equals 2 pi r. Now, either one of those will work. So if your problem gives you the diameter, use this one. If your problem gives you the radius, use that one. Now let's do a couple of examples, and I won't do all the multiplying because I want you to spend your time watching how to set up the problems. You can multiply on your own. You already know how to do that. So we use 3.14 for pi. Pi equals 3.14. Now, if I say that, let's do some of these where we have radius. So if I say the radius equals 2 inches, then for my area, I'm going to say area equals pi r squared. Write down the formula first, then substitute in. So area equals 3.14 times 2 inches squared. All right, if you multiply that out, this is going to be area equals 3.14 times 4 inches squared. And then that, if you multiplied it out, you would get area equals 12.56 inches squared. Now, the places I see people make mistakes, I see people mess up and forget to put inches squared. Remember, we measure area in square units. So inches squared, centimeters squared, feet squared, whichever the unit is. The other place I see people mess things up is they forget to square the radius. So right here, when it says 2 inches squared, you're going to make that 4. Okay? Now, the other thing we would need to do, find the circumference. Since they gave us the radius, I'm going to choose to use this formula, C equals 2 pi r. So C equals 2 times 3.14. I'm going to have to move my video over a little bit. Times 2 inches. Now, sometimes I see people square this. This one is not squared, but it is 2 times 2 here. So I usually multiply my whole numbers and then multiply by the decimal because it just makes it easier. Now my circumference, I'm going to come up with, I actually come up with the same number, 12.56, except these are inches, not square inches. Now 2 and 1 are the only ones that come out differently. They come out the same thing for your area. Actually, only 2. 2 is the only one that comes out with the same answer, 12.56, for area and circumference. Now, let's try one more of these. If I gave you the diameter, if I said diameter equals 2 inches, now I'm going to have the radius is going to be half of that. So radius, I know, is 1 inch. If I find my area, I write down my formula, area equals pi r squared. And then I'm going to substitute in area equals 3.14 times 1 inch squared. That means area equals 3.14. Now 1 squared is 1 times 1, so that's still going to give me 1. So it's times 1 square inch. And my area is 3.14 inches squared. Now, with my circumference, with my area, remember that we had to find the radius. The mistake I see people make is they put this 2 in here for radius. That says radius, not diameter, so I have to change it to radius. Now, if I'm doing my circumference, remember I had these two formulas, circumference equals pi d and circumference equals 2 pi r. I'm going to use the one that has the diameter. So I'm going to use C equals pi d. And then that will be C equals 3.14 times, the diameter is 2 inches. And so that's going to be circumference equals 6.28 inches. It's not square inches because circumference is the distance around. It's like if you took a piece of string and put it all the way around here and then stretched it out to measure it, you'd measure it with a ruler. Now, when you're doing area, you're going to be measuring all of what's inside here. That's why you would have square inches.